Hello, and in today's video we're doing a final review of my Euro fantasy team for the UEFA 2020 competition for the European Championships. And yeah, we're going to wrap everything up possible with my team, how it got on, how I did week by week and all that lovely stuff. So if you do enjoy, go on to smash a like on it and comment down below how you found Euro fantasy. It was a very interesting game. But yeah, it was a very exciting one also, and we didn't really take it that seriously. Obviously, FPL is where it's at, but it was a nice little distraction, and it was good fun. So yeah, it was obviously working a little bit differently to FPL in the fact that you've got captaincy changes every day, you've got substitution changes every day, and of course, you know, you've got a lot of players you can bring in for free transfers, and it increases as the tournament goes on. Obviously, in the final, you had 8 players per team if you wanted to. It was really, really good. So yeah, we're going to look over that, but it should be really fun. We're also at some point in the future, so tune in for this one, but we're going to be reacting to our overall Euro 2020 predictions. That's going to be really, really fun. I'll try and describe some of the key moments and the key goals across the tournament, and just generally look at how many of my pre-tournament predictions did I get right, whether that be score predictions. Who did I say for top scorer? Who did I say for some table groups predictions? So yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch that one. But here we are doing a little look at my Euro fantasy team. Now, I'll admit, it did kind of fall off a cliff at one point, and that one point was my last 16 team. I think it was going into the quarterfinals, or maybe it was just before that. But basically, I took a minus 48 hit because I was foolish enough to make a team too soon, and I was confident in my players that I had going through the games. And then, of course, France got knocked out and Netherlands got knocked out. It was a nightmare. So, yeah, I take the full blame for that, really. It was a bit foolish, but like I said in that video when I did it, I wasn't looking for an amazing rank. I'd already started with a good rank of 61k, and then I just thought, let's just try and score a good amount of points this week. But even when you change your team up like that, when you have players not fit to play or injured, or you want better players in there, it doesn't always equate to points, unfortunately. That's just the way it goes, and that's the way this tournament went, really. It was a lot of surprises and underdog stories. So fair play. Euro 2020 was certainly one we will not forget for a while. So let's get into what I thought for my Euro fantasy team. Mainly, it was just a lot of frustrations, especially with captaincy. So it was unideal because, in a way, you kind of want more. When you have a captain blank, you want more, and then actually you feel like you should have settled for what was not as bad in the first place. So let's start off with looking at the general picture behind my team. The team name was Control-Alt-Delete. And I'm glad to say I never owned Matthias de Ligt throughout the tournament because he wasn't a good Euro fantasy option, and got sent off, of course, in that game with Czech Republic. So it was not a great tournament for him. And Netherlands did fairly well in their group. They were nervy at times, but they should have really got further than that. And they were pretty disappointing. And it was also disappointing, at times we had Netherlands players at the wrong times, not having Martin, I think, or Doniel Marlin, I think it is, and also not having Memphis Depay. We basically had this block on him because we just thought, nah, he's a lucky striker, he won't get goals, and he got a few, to be fair to him. And of course, when we had Gini Wijnaldum, we did captain him, and he did very little. 1 goal against Ukraine, but nothing other than that. After we captained him in that game, which was really frustrating, to be fair, against Austria. And then, of course, when we took him out of our team for Matchday 3, for that lovely little wild card that we did in Matchday 3, of course, Wijnaldum goes and gets 2 goals. So, yeah, it was frustrating at times. And Gareth Bale, of course, we had one of our drafts for Matchday 3. He goes and scores, he gets 2 assists against Turkey. And although he does miss a penalty, a shame to miss out on those points. So there was a lot of frustration, but let's try and be positive, people. Let's look at what went well from Matchday 1 all the way through to Matchday 7, that being, of course, the final that ended 1-1 between England and Italy. And to be fair, for that final, I didn't really like that because of all the results that could have happened. You'd have wanted a goal fest because you want points from both sides, but then you also want a tight game that ends 0-0 for all those clean sheet points. and it was kind of neither of those two scenarios. So it meant it was limited points, only 2 players getting goals, and both defenders who, some people will have owned. A lot of people would have had Bonucci and Shaw. Unfortunately, I only had Shaw, but I was so close to having Bonucci. I just chose Chiellini over him, mainly because I thought Chiellini had more goal threat, and I thought that, Bonucci was just not as good of an option. And Bonucci got booked first. I was getting so excited. I was like, yes, Chiellini, he's going to get the clean sheet, or, not going to get a yellow card. But then, of course, Chiellini gets booked as well, and then Bonucci goes on to score. So, yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare, really, but it wasn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse, definitely. But it's going to be interesting looking back, I think, because I've kind of forgotten about some of the great moments that I've had, and also forgotten about some of the moments that I kind of wanted to, not have in my memory and wipe from my mind. So we're just loading it up for you people now. And as I mentioned, whilst you're waiting, smash a like on the video. And who is your FPL, not player of the tournament, because obviously we know that was given to Donnarumma, and a lot of people have said people like Chiesa and Sterling and, a range of players. But who's your Euro Fantasy asset of the tournament? Who's the best in this tournament for getting you those points? Not necessarily playing well or looking a really good player. Who got the most and who was the best, in your opinion, for Euro Fantasy points? For me, I think it's got to go to one man, and that is one man only. Now, I'll admit, if I'd have had him in from the start, then we would have been absolutely laughing. But I'd say it's got to be Raheem Sterling. Now, all right, he didn't look great against Italy in the respect that he was trying to drive forward, but he just wasn't making that final pass. And he did kind of put the pressure on against Denmark. He was really, really good against Germany and Czech Republic and Croatia, but then not so much in the other 2 games, apart from that really good assist against Ukraine. So he got a lot of consistent points, Sterling, for a Euro Fantasy perspective. So I think he's got to be my winner. But Chiesa and Insigne could equally be just as high up on that list. Schmeichel, of course, was the villain of the semi-finals for me, because he got 9 points and he was on my bench. I didn't sub him in. I kept Donnarumma in because I thought Kane would have a mad one. And Kane was a bit quiet, to be fair, in against Italy. But because of the fact we didn't want to take too much of a hit in Matchday 7 in the final, we didn't take out all the players that had already been knocked out, like Ferran Torres, Meunier and Schmeichel. So we left Schmeichel on our bench. It was an easy decision to play Donnarumma, and within the first 2 minutes, Donnarumma's clean sheet is gone. So, yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. But I think Donnarumma still had a really good tournament. He did make a lot of saves at times, and yeah, he's just a really strong presence in that goal. So you've got to give it to a bit of Gianluigi Donnarumma. So also let me know what you're thinking about my new channel, FPL Yellow Army. And by the way, if you haven't already, check out on the FPL Penguin YouTube channel. They've done a very nice video, and it's from me, basically, looking at Watford assets and introducing myself, basically. So that was a really good one to film, and a really exciting one. Hopefully a collaboration will be coming soon for that. That would be really exciting, as well as maybe a few more FPL videos before the end of August. So should be really exciting to see those. But tomorrow at some point, I will try and get out a video on my FPL Yellow Army channel, just updating you with my current FPL draft team. The draft I've got, not FPL draft, because that's a different part of FPL, and I'm probably not going to play it because, I might, but I'll probably choose the players right at the end because you can make changes whenever you want, and I don't know, it's not as important as FPL. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you what my updated FPL team is looking like, and just some early predictions, some FPL points predictions, and seeing who's going to get the most points in the season. This should be a really interesting one. So yeah, go on to enjoy that, hopefully. But now let's get into the nitty gritty of. Let's first of all touch on the semi-finals, because I don't think we really did address it too much, other than the fact we mentioned how we got 42 points. It wasn't a great week, but to be fair, the captaincy could have been worse. We went from Insigne to Harry Kane, and we doubled our tally on that respect. 2 points into 4, and then back to 2 because I took it off him, and then 4 points from Kane up to 8. Not too bad, but looking back on match day number 6, I think it was a bang average, round of games. There was only 2 matches, so you couldn't get all the, points for it. But Damsgaard obviously getting us the goal, that was really nice. Kane also scoring, and I, didn't want to own Simon Kjaer. Not many people had Bukayo Saka, to be fair, in that semi-final, so I got Saka in the final, but it was too late. He didn't get an assist in that match like he did against Denmark. And then, of course, in the other game, Italy, well, at the end of the day, it was a bit of a nervy game, and the goal came from Chiesa, and we didn't own him. And Morata as well, we had him, but then we took him out. So I'll at least take the Olmo assist, but it wasn't a good week, certainly because of that Schmeichel benching. But it was finally on 25 points for Matchday 7. 25 points for the last week of the Euro Fantasy campaign is not bad, but it's certainly not ideal. It's only one game, so you basically got to stack up on all the players you think will play and think will get points. But in terms of that bench, we didn't, bench the wrong player in that regard. What we originally had was Saka playing and then Belotti on the bench. And basically what we did, we really wanted to have a good week this week, and we wanted to surpass what we were on. So we were on a target. We wanted to surpass 200k after being on 246k, I think, from the semi-finals, if I'm right in thinking. And then we, mid-match day, when we saw the lineups and that Saka was benched and that Belotti was also benched, we thought, who's more likely to come on, Belotti or Saka? Well, Immobile always gets subbed off, and, Saka didn't necessarily fit into that system. So I thought Belotti would get more minutes. And to be fair, Belotti did come on, but so did Saka, unfortunately. So Belotti played, unfortunately, less minutes than Saka, and I couldn't have seen that coming. Saka, of course, is going to be a big option for Arsenal FPL next season, and he's going to pick himself up from that penalty miss. Belotti, of course, also missing his penalty, but it was ultimately a very unimpactful change for me. And we also changed the captaincy. In the video, I originally said it would be on Insigne because I was wanting to end on a poetic kind of way to end the tournament. Ideally, you'd have said we'd have picked it on Chiesa because actually he played more minutes than someone like Insigne, and it's fine. But actually, we didn't pick Insigne because that would only have been 2 points when it was doubled. We went for instead someone who got just as much as Chiesa, 2 points from Raheem Sterling. And yeah, disappointing to see that captaincy blank, but actually it was better than what I had it on originally. So it's not too bad. It's just no one, unless they are really, really, insightful and clever, is going to captain Luke Shaw. And fair enough, I saw a few people do it, but it was always going to be a bold move, and I just didn't have the bottle to do it. So all in all, not great really for that team. But Saka is the only man on the bench with the point. Everyone else not in the tournament. So Donnarumma 2 points. Hopefully we can get the audio and the visuals for you people. Donnarumma 2 points. I mean, I thought he might make a few save points. He didn't actually make, or at least it didn't register that many saves in the game. So that's, is what it is kind of thing. He tipped a few over, I think. He tipped one over from John Stones, and I think that Kane had one, but it was very limited really from England, especially in the second half of the game. And then Harry Maguire, 1 point. You don't like to see it, to be fair. Getting a booking, just really frustrating. And of course, getting the goal conceded. He didn't get that attacking goal that we, were craving from a set piece, but it is what it is. Moving on, a bit of Luke Shaw. What a guy. I mean, he has to be the left back of the tournament, and a lovely 8-pointer. You can't complain with that. Lovely goal. And of course, being a defender, he gets more points for that. So 6 points very early on in the match was exactly what we wanted. And it was a great finish, to be fair to him, with the volley down into the ground. Chiellini was another frustrating one, because what did he go and do? Just like Bonucci, if we'd have owned him, but at least he scored. No, but Chiellini did nothing, and he got booked. So exactly the same as Harry Maguire. Not exactly ideal stuff, and yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. Emerson, 2 points. He had a great little match for me in Matchday 6 with those 6 points in the clean sheet, despite Italy conceding. He obviously got subbed off. He didn't get subbed off, for 90 minutes in this one, but he got subbed off on 118 minutes. So, it's fine. He didn't concede, but he also did play the minimum time I thought he would and get those 2 points. It is what it is. Now moving on to the midfield, I think this was where it was really a bit of a nightmare because we expected a few returns here. Insigne, Sterling and Chiesa is a pretty good midfield. But yeah, as I mentioned, Insigne only 1 point. he got subbed off, and I was really surprised by that, to be fair. I didn't think he would, just not get past 90 minutes and not get into extra time. But he did obviously get a yellow card as well, Lorenzo. So I'm actually really relieved in the end that I didn't captain him. But Sterling, it was very minimal, the difference from him to Sterling. But at least Sterling, played 90 minutes, didn't get booked. And all that stuff. He actually did play beyond 90 minutes into extra time, but yeah, that missing goal unfortunately couldn't come. And it was a great tournament for Sterling. There's no denying it. 39 points, and he was a very popular pick, but he just couldn't get us the captaincy points, unfortunately. And then Chiesa, once again, he was their biggest threat, Italy, and just flashed that chance wide where it could have been a bit more threatening. So again, a bit disappointing to not see him pop up because he was a really, really impressive player, across the tournament. But it's 2 points. It's 86 minutes played. It is what it is. So then the front line, of course, the trend right now. It's a lot of blanks. Kane, 2 points. Kane was just not really in the game as much as you would want for a big final. He's usually the man to turn to. But to be fair, he's not had an amazing tournament apart from that Ukraine game. He got a nice little return in the Denmark one with the goal despite that missed penalty. But yeah, he just wasn't really in the moment, unfortunately, against Italy. And then Belotti, 1 point. As I said, I knew he was going to come off the bench. I knew he wasn't going to get massive minutes, but he was a threat, Belotti. It's just he got so many one-pointers in this European Championship. So it is disappointing when you come to think of it. And then Immobile, the man who came off for him, well, not directly actually, Immobile came off a little bit earlier than I had expected, to be fair, on 54 minutes. He just wasn't in the game. He was really struggling, and those glory days of the early part of the tournament in the likes of Matchday 2, Matchday 1, they really were behind him, and so it was a really shame to see him, not go out with a bit more of an impact. So there it is, my people. We have finished on 25 points. So that means, all in all, we are looking at a very interesting rank of, let me tell you, it is 274,833. So we end on 274k, which is unfortunate stuff because it's a red arrow and we wanted to get above 200k, but we've nearly got above 300k, which would have been a bit of a nightmare. But at the end of the day, it's not too bad. It's respectable, but I kind of wanted to finish in the top 100k or at least get near 100k. We didn't really do that. So I think the minus hit did hurt us a lot. I think that the last 2 round of matches in the semi-finals and finals just didn't go to plan. But at the end of the day, we can still be happy about Matchday 1, in which we scored 75 points. Lukaku, 20 points. Ronaldo, 10. We had Wijnaldum doing the absolute bits against Ukraine. Because a lot of people didn't, back Wijnaldum because they thought, oh no, it's going to be a bit more defensive for Wijnaldum, like at the position he plays at Liverpool. But no, he pops up in the right moment with a really good finish. And actually, Wijnaldum plays that advanced role. Yeah, I'll admit, it wasn't ideal for that North Macedonia game, but we'll take the return. Mount, disappointing. I thought he would do a bit more against Croatia. Alaba, love that assist, cheeky little stuff, 5-pointer. Insigne, you can't complain, 8 points. Berardi, assist, love it. Pau Torres, clean sheet. Donnarumma, clean sheet. And of course, that absolute nightmare that was Hirodeki on the bench, 13 points. But anyway, moving swiftly on, Matchday 2, we had our joint second, well, I say joint second. You can't really say there's like first, last and middle because how do you judge it? There's only minimal amount of games. If you'd have said there's 10 matches every week, then you can judge it by that. But when you think about it, obviously our worst week was the final. And then after that, it was the semi-final. After that, it was Matchday 3. And then after that, it was joint between Matchday 2 and the round of 16. Our second best week was the quarterfinals. And our best week was Matchday 1. So basically, we peaked at the start. And it all went downhill from there. So it's not ideal, really. The second round of matches, the Matchday 2 fixtures, we just made a bit of sloppy decision-making. The signing we brought in, though, can I just say, was a class move. Denzel Dumfries, what a guy. And he just did the absolute bits in that second match with Austria. 14 points. He basically is a forward at this point. He gets so forward. and won the penalty, scored the goal. You really cannot complain. He was a really good player over the tournament. Spinazzola as well, so attacking. And to be fair, I should have probably had Spinazzola from the start because I, did hear good things at Roma, but I just didn't really go for it, and we had Donnarumma instead. But then we opted with our wildcard team in Matchday 3. We chose Limitless in Matchday 2, so that's why we got Dumfries in. Obviously, Limitless, it reverts back to Matchday 1, so this was just kind of like a one-off thing. And with a one-off, we went with Spinazzola. All right, no attack and return, but at least a clean sheet, as was that for Jordan Pickford. I mean, Didier Deschamps really frustrated me in Matchday 2 because it was that game up against Hungary, and I was just like, come on. It's going to be an attacking France defender. It's got to be done. And we go with Lucas Hernandez. And yeah, Hungary score. But the main thing is Hernandez doesn't play. And it was just a really frustrating thing to see 0 points. I think he did have an injury, to be fair. But Didier Deschamps does like to do that, rotate his fullbacks, which I probably should have seen a bit before that. But it is what it is. Alba, 2 points. Now, in a way, it was kind of genius because obviously Hernandez didn't keep a clean sheet. But the idea is you have an auto sub, and unfortunately, I think we had auto subs off in that match day. So even though it was little, Harry Kane didn't come in for his 2 points that he received from that matchup with Scotland. So yeah, Jordi Alba, frustrating. You thought you were going to get that clean sheet in the second game for Spain. I mean, why wouldn't you predict that? Like, at the end of the day, they're playing against a very up and down Poland team that, all right, yeah, it's not bad, but I just thought that Lewandowski was struggling. And then, of course, he gets his first goal, and he scored 2 in the final game against Sweden. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it was this frustrating thing, but Jordi Alba, came to the rescue later on in the tournament. Insigne, 3 points, really poor. Yarmolenko, my guy, what a lovely little return in that matchup with Sweden. That was really, really nice. I say match up with Sweden. It wasn't Sweden. It was North Macedonia. They faced Sweden in the later stages of the tournament. But yeah, I loved that game against North Macedonia. A goal and assist. Fabulous, fabulous stuff. Wijnaldum blanked. Of course he did against Austria. We captained him and then we switched it. But actually, we should have kept it on Wijnaldum because we went from Wijnaldum to Mbappe. And of course, Mbappe did nothing in that matchup with Hungary. So it was not good, basically. Then we had Perisic, what a beast. Loved that goal against Czech Republic. Really, really nice finish. And he was a nice differential that I went for and it worked off. Hazard came off the bench. All right, it's not too bad. He gets the assist. And then I mentioned Mbappe already. So not great on the bench either. We could have had Lloris, but actually Pickford got more. At the end of the day, you could have said that, someone like, I don't know, Meunier comes in for Hernandez, but that's just hindsight, really. You can't really complain too much. Moving into Matchday 3, the worst, or second to worst, I should say, or third to worst, in terms of points. It was just a nightmare. Like, we went for it in the wild card. We thought we'd do really well, and we basically only made one good decision, and that was to bring in Xherdan Shaqiri for his game against Turkey. I loved that one, and I nearly captained him, but nah, fair enough. 13 points, 2 goals, fabulous, fabulous stuff. Hazard, disappointing. Serge Gnabry, so disappointing because we had the clean sheet from Kevin De Bruyne and we had the assist from Kevin De Bruyne. But I thought that he would get way more, Serge Gnabry, in his match against Hungary. But of course he didn't. Of course. So I switched it from De Bruyne's 12 and got 4 from Serge Gnabry. Not good at all. The forward line was, mixed success. Gerard Moreno, at least, did pop up with a nice little assist against Slovakia, but you kind of want a bit more than that. And Pau Torres, he wasn't starting the game. It was fair enough for us to bench him, but then he comes off the bench and gets an assist in 19 minutes. You just can't predict those things. So, yeah, obviously, Stekelenburg got as much as Simon, so it was fine to kind of keep Stekelenburg in there. The Germany defence let me down big time. Gosens and Rudiger just not good enough. And once again, Italy defence is strong, but unfortunately not, strong enough for the attack for that Matchday 3 game against Wales. Because let's be honest, no one had Pessina. Moving into the round of 16, the captaincy was wonderful again. Benzema 20 points, love that. And the defence was pretty mixed again. Myler 12 points, he's the man. He's basically the out-position defender we all love to see. And the bench was pretty dodgy, to be fair. 1 point from De Bruyne, and obviously went off injured against Portugal. But yeah, it was not good. Apart from that Spinazzola assist, Kimpembe, what an absolute, Wally, 3 goals conceded against Switzerland. Gosens, no points because obviously he just had a bit of a stinker in that game. Got a yellow card against England and conceded 2. And then, of course, the forward line, Griezmann and Mbappe were the options, but we went with Griezmann. Differential got us the assist. Mbappe did nothing and, of course, missed a penalty. And then Forsberg, 7-pointer. You love to see that, and you don't love to see that blank from Wijnaldum and Immobile, respectively. Matchday number 7 was the last one, but matchday 5 was the next one. And this was pretty good because our forward line was strong and we basically got a return for pretty much every position apart from goalkeeper. So I'll take it. And in terms of our forward line, Harry Kane, lovely, 20 points against Ukraine. We backed it and it absolutely came off with 2 goals. We also brought in Luke Shaw and he got 2 assists. What a legend. I mean, you love to see that. Grealish was a gamble. He didn't play, unfortunately. And once again, people, we forgot to put on auto subs. So Sarabia's 1-pointer didn't come on, unfortunately, for Grealish. And then, of course, 6 points for Sterling. Love that assist from the man against Ukraine. And, of course, Lukaku got a goal against Italy. Though it was just a penalty, it was enough for us. And, of course, Jordi Alba as well. A lovely little assist against Switzerland. It could have been a goal, of course, but we'll take the assist, even if the clean sheet didn't come. And Myler, once again, with a nice little assist outside of the foot, helping his team get through against Czech Republic. So, all in all, pretty good. Not much missing out on the bench because actually Donnarumma got less than Schmeichel, 2 compared to Schmeichel's 3, thanks to his 4 shots saved against the lovely Czech Republic. And just 1-pointers basically for Morata, Sarabia and Meunier on the bench. Semi-final time, and we've talked about that already, but basically Schmeichel just leave it out, Insigne leave it out, Harry Kane leave it out, Damsgaard, what a legend. So that wraps up my Euro Fantasy review across the whole tournament, and it's been really fun. Just to end my review of my team, I will look at my leagues currently. I mentioned my rank before, but my final overall score for points is 324. So, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, in terms of my leagues, I had Portugal, and out of 28,000 members, we finished in the top 3.7k. Which we don't mind that. Out of 21,000 people in Great Britain, we finished in the top 2.5k. Nice, I like that. And then in the overall, we finished obviously 274k out of a possible 3.75 million people. So it's not the worst. You know, when you think of FPL, there's about 8 million players in that game, and you'd be happy with like a 200k rank. And that's basically what we've got. It's just there's a few less players in the game. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. We didn't finish top in enough of our leagues for our liking. We did get one dub, it secured and done. And to be fair, by the end of it, it was a fairly comfortable margin of 74 points. And just checking my other leagues to make sure I've not missed anything. We also had another league where we came close, but unfortunately not quite enough to get the dub. We missed out the winning total by a score of 324 this week, but the total that we missed out on was 348. So, yeah, 24 points was the difference from winning that one. And to be fair, even if we'd have got, say, 24 more points and we'd have finished on, 49, then at the end of the day, there probably is going to be another 24 points for this person, or at the end of the day, they could have scored more. So even if, say, we got the same overall points, you would win the game if you got a better, only the final score, if you get what I mean. So, yeah, bit of a shame to miss out on that one by a narrow margin, but anyway, it is what it is. And then finally, we had one other league that we did actually win, and that was really good. To be fair, there was 7 people in it, so it's not a massive victory, but we did get a fairly comfortable win in the end. Second, it was finishing on 285, so we wiped the floor really with that. Despite getting less from that week, 26 was what they got. I got 25. We finished on 3-2-4. So thanks for watching my Euro Fantasy review. It's been a nice deep one, a nice extended one, reviewing Matchday 7 and of course reviewing it in general week by week. Don't forget about the videos I mentioned coming up on the channel and of course on the other channel, FPL Yellow Army. I'll see you next time. See you later.